In this second slide, I'd like to show you the results from our field experiment to measure the impact of enforcement measures on delinquent taxpayer compliance. And so what we do in our experiment is we choose a set of 100,000 delinquent taxpayers in Mexico City, and we divide them in one of two different treatment groups. The first of them is a sanctions treatment group that consists of a letter highlighting the potential legal sanctions that the taxpayer may face if she does not make a payment toward her overdue balance. The second group is a public goods message, and namely taxpayers in this group receive a letter highlighting the potential public goods that they will be able to access if they pay their taxes. Okay, and so what I show you in this graph is the payment responses of taxpayers in each of these two groups to the letter they receive. What we have on the x-axis of the graph is the number of days relative to the submission of the letters by the government. And what we have on the y-axis is the share of properties that make a payment toward their overdue balance. The vertical dotted line represents the moment in which the government submits these letters to the taxpayers, and the vertical solid black line represents the moment of receipt of these letters. As you can see, there is an upward sloping blue line, solid blue line, that represents the payment behavior of a control group of delinquent taxpayers that do not receive any letter by the government. And as you'll see, this group of delinquent taxpayers increases their payment over time, albeit at a slow rate. On the other hand, the dotted red line in the graph represents the payment behavior of individuals in the sanctions treatment. Remember, these are the individuals that received a letter highlighting the potential legal consequences that the taxpayer may face if she doesn't pay her taxes. And what you'll see is that, indeed, the sanctions treatment raised payment for this group, and we quantified the size of this effect to be of 9.36 percentage points, which means that 1 in 10 members of this group makes a payment toward her overdue balance after receiving the letter. On the other hand, the dotted green line represents the payment behavior of individuals in the public goods treatment. Remember, these are individuals that receive the letter highlighting the public goods that they may access if they pay their taxes. And as we can see, this letter was also effective in raising taxpayer. However, the treatment effect estimate is of 4.86 percentage points, which means that only about 1 in 20 taxpayers in this group was incentivized by the letter to make a payment. And so the overall takeaway of this graph is that the government can successfully enhance enforcement measures and raise tax revenue. Now, in ongoing research, I study water utility payments in Mexico City. Now, in this slide, I am showing you a pickup truck that contains piped water. And this pickup truck is a private service that households hire to access drinkable water in periods of water service disruptions in Mexico City. And so even compliant taxpayers can face these periods of water service disruption, right? And so the water utility bill is unique in the sense that it does not does not guarantee access to drinkable water. Okay, and so in this ongoing research project, I studied together with my co-authors the reciprocity link between the actions of taxpayers and the government pertaining to water service and water provision. In particular, we are exploring the idea that if taxpayers perceive a better quality water service, they might be more willing to pay their utility bill. Now, this is, of course, difficult for the government, as the government struggles to keep up with increased costs of provision. These include, and then the reasons for these higher costs of provision include the fact that water is becoming scarcer, the fact that urban settlements are growing, governments have decaying infrastructure, and water treatment is costly. And so we also seek to demonstrate that the overall quality of water service provision depends on the payment that taxpayers make toward their water utility bills. And so to study this reciprocity link and the actions of both the government and taxpayers, what we do is we use data from repeated cross-sectional surveys on taxpayer perceptions about water service, together with administrative records on water usage and payment. And what we seek to do with this data is to quantify the impacts of each of these two agents in Mexico City, and we'll try to use the takeaways from these empirical exercise to inform other policy contexts as well. And so thank you very much for your attention. I look forward to our conversation later today.